Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be giving you a quick and simple less than 30-minute guide on how you can get the ultimate combat setup. And just a few mods, not a whole bunch. That may include a few anime effects because some people do like that. And because I know you guys love seeing videos like that as well. But I'll include everything you need and should get. But before we do get into it, make sure you leave a like on the video and subscribe for more content in the future because this content will be constant. And you may end up liking it constantly. But yeah, make sure you leave a like on the video. And let's dive right in. So firstly, we're going to start off with the most basic mods that you can get on Nexus, and we're going to just shoot straight through them because I don't want to take too long doing this, because these are needed to even start doing anything else with the combat mods. And yes, they do work on all versions of Skyrim. The very first mod that you're going to need is Animation Motion Revolution. Can't really do a showcase of this because it is a SKSE plugin, which is script extender, but it allows animations to play out how they're meant to be played by removing the vanilla limitations. And no, this isn't one of those can I skip it mods. No, you have to get this, 100% you need this. Just like the next mod. Well, you can pick either one. You can get Open Animation Replacer or Dynamic Animation Replacer. But I highly recommend Open Animation Replacer because it's backwards compatible with all Dynamic Animation Replacer mods, but Dar can't use any Open Animation Replacer mods. So I would say save yourself the headache. Next mod I want you guys to grab is One Click Power Attack because that is going to be needed for this setup. It basically allows you to remap Skyrim's power attack so it isn't tied to holding your mouse button down the entire time. Now you can map it to a random key of your choosing. You can have it set so that the power attack only triggers after you do a normal attack first, so the hotkey is still free to use for other things when you're not in combat. Or you can trigger it as soon as you push it by having that set as well. You also want to grab Payload Interpreter. These are pretty much the most basic of the basics when you begin modding in Skyrim because I want you guys to not run into any issues this time. And honestly, I can't tell you exactly what Payload does, but you need it, so just trust me. And the last mod, well, there's definitely a lot more in this video, but in case of utility, so we can get on with the good stuff, is Nemesis Unlimited Behavior. This allows you to run a program that allows all animations to load in game on startup, so your character won't T-pose. Now we're going to switch up entirely and jump straight into the exciting stuff because I'm a little bored of giving utilities. And hopefully, since we're moving on, I didn't need to mention that these mods do need Skyrim script extender and address library for these to work fully. But even if I did, I just mentioned it now, so we're just gonna move on. The first mod we're gonna need just to start off is probably what you guessed, but we're going to need True Directional Movement by Urshin, transforming Skyrim's boring vanilla movement and bringing it into 2014, honestly. I would say 2024, but honestly this movement is in most older games. Skyrim just kind of missed the curve, I guess. True Directional Movement definitely does more than just allow you to run in circles without moving your camera. It also adds small little features such as head tracking so your character's head will move and look where you're currently looking. There's also that little thing that people like to turn up to the max, and that is leaning, which means that your character will motion out the action of turning, and like I said, the lean can be as strong as or as weak as you want it to be. And the most handy function in my opinion is the lock on feature because honestly I have given up on trying to learn to aim in Skyrim. With this feature it lets you lock onto enemies depending on how far and how big the enemy is. And you can also lock on to friendlies as well, but you probably want to turn that off. But when you are in combat, whether you're using magic or an arrow, depending on if you lock onto an enemy, it will automatically take the height needed just to hit that enemy. So you can pretty much be as lazy as you want, but they still can dodge you also because sometimes it's predictive. Unless you turn on homing, which you can do, but that's a little cheating. Alright, so we're just gonna go straight back into quickfire mode because I've covered a few of these quite a lot of times already. But the next mod after True Directional Movement, considering we aren't talking about HUD, I won't cover Truehud, but definitely go and grab it. But besides that, what you need to actually grab is Precision, which is kind of weird also because it's all about the same mod out there. Precision allows weapon collisions to be accurate so that when an NPC tries to hit you, they won't hit you with the force and have you breaking your keyboard. Instead, NPCs have to actually be in range of you to hit you. I feel like at this point, I should just link Urshin's entire mod page in my description because honestly, you're probably going to end up needing 95% of his mods, maybe all of them, depending on if you're a mod author or not. But yes, make sure you also grab Dynamic Collision Adjustment, which is also by them. It makes it so collision for objects and your character are spread across your entire character instead of just one specific spot. And it also works for NPCs as well. So giants won't be walking through tunnels easily, and you can also shoot them in the face. Yeah, to be honest, Urshan was definitely on a roll for the past 3 years, especially for Skyrim modding, so make sure you grab every single mod on their mod page, especially for Open Animation Replacer. The only one that you don't want to get or need to get is Open Animation Math plugin, because you 100% don't need it either way, and I don't need to explain that. Okay, so now we're going to move on to the most important mod of the list. Well, I can't really say it's the most important one, with all the Urshan mods being in this and the next one's up, but to be fair, this mod did do a lot and opened up the door for a lot more modders. The next mod up is Attack Modern Combat Overhaul by Distar, or what we call AMCO, or the other one that I don't know how to pronounce, but we're not going to try that. And it can be found on the Modding Guild website. It used to be called the Skyrim Guild website, and that's why people get confused and can't find it now. But if you do search Skyrim Guild, it will take you to the right place either way. This mod in simple terms removes the Skyrim ice skating. And in complicated terms, it changes how Skyrim animations play out in Skyrim for your character. So instead of being able to move around and attack while moving side to side, instead your character will now commit to an attack pattern, either moving forwards or even to the side if your animation mod supports that. And because your character now commits to the attack, you will not be able to run away after you try and attack an enemy, so there will be no more hiding. So that will mean Skyrim will be harder now. This also allows for attacks to chain, because there are mods out there that let you dodge or during an attack to cancel it to dodge, if that just made sense. But now you can actually commit to a combo and make it play on this full length so you can look like an action hero. But what I would advise is to have some kind of stagger mod, because honestly NPCs do like to attack mid combo. Which brings me to my next two mods, because they are kind of a package. The next two mods I have to introduce them as one, because like I said, they work so well together. These two mods are called Modern Stagger Lock and MaxsuPoise, both by the same mod author, if you didn't catch on already, and both work so well together because I mean they were technically made for each other, around the same time as well. The first mod, Modern Stagger Lock, is just a framework. It doesn't really do anything on its own. It just works well with other poise mods if you want, but the reason I use MaxsuPoise with it is due to the fact that MaxsuPoise might be the most advanced poise system I've ever seen in Skyrim. Well, to be honest, it's more than just it being advanced unlike the other poise, because this poise, unlike the other poise mods I've tried, has a stagger cooldown effect. So after you finish maybe a 3 to 4 hit combo, the NPC will become stagger immune. Basically a perk gets applied to them that you can't see. And that perk lasts for however long you set it as. At base it's about 0.2 seconds, and that's pretty much nothing, so I raised it up to about 5 seconds because that's enough time to get my stamina back, and also so I don't just stagger like a boss. The stagger does also apply to the player because you can be hit and then stagger, but after a few hits you become stagger immune as well. But I probably would advise to turn that off because NPCs always gangbang you. But we're gonna move on from stagger because it is advanced and it might take a little time to learn, and I don't have that time to fully explain it to you. But luckily you can find presets for it on Nemesis just to make things easier for you. But I will link both mods down in my description since the mods themselves are not on Nemesis unfortunately, but they are free at least. But to match with that stagger system, if you decided not to turn off the player stagger like a true Chad, which I didn't do, but maybe it's because I'm lazy. But you also want to grab Scar, which is basically Attack Modern Combat Overhaul, but instead for NPCs, allowing them to combo you and kill you almost as quickly as you kill them. The only issue with Scar is that NPCs will continue to attack, never really giving you the chance to counterattack, which probably leads to you dying a lot. And that's where Scar stamina limitation comes in. It's by the same mod author, but it just makes it so NPCs are aware of their stamina, so they will actually stop to regenerate, allowing you to actually kill them. If you guys want an animation video, I can definitely do that, even though I've done it multiple times already. But all my animations, I guess I'll just list them on the video as it's happening. But if you want an actual explanation in another video, I can just do that. To be honest, I probably won't be doing that, but I just like to sell the idea that I will be doing it again for people. And after Scar, honestly, that's pretty much all you're going to need in terms of basics of the basics for a combat setup. But just for extra effects on top of it, and probably because I've showcased it a few times, I'm just going to include it, which is Valhalla Combat by Directional. Valhalla Combat is a complete package in the terms of overhauling Skyrim's basic combat, giving a new parry system for attacks and for projectiles, allowing you to send them back at people that shot them at you, and a stun system that's also compatible with poise mods, which is the previous mod I just mentioned, and also an execution system that can be a little iffy sometimes, causing a few bugs, but I'll get into that a little bit later. But honestly, the best part and probably my favorite part is that it has a highly configurable stamina system, which basically makes it so when you hit an enemy, you gain stamina in proportion to the damage that you did, or you can kind of change that in the MCM, but you also lose stamina if the enemy ends up blocking it or you just end up missing everything. But you can also make blocking take stamina as well, so you both lose stamina in that situation. But I usually turn blocking stamina all the way up to the max because enemies end up blocking a lot in my game. So it kind of just balances it. The execution system, like I mentioned before, can be a little bit iffy just due to the options, because sometimes when you try and execute an enemy early before they're all the way dead, they become immune to all damage if something breaks. So they're pretty much just killing you and you can't do anything back to them. And it happens a lot more if you just happen to have on hit triggered, which people end up doing a lot for some reason, even though that's kind of like the most buggy thing you can do in Skyrim. But I mean, that's kind of a vanilla issue also. Valhalla just helps it trigger a lot more. And to top these off, the final thing that you're going to need with this combat setup, even though it is the bare minimum, is a dodge mod. I prefer TKDodge, but there is multiple options like Ultimate Dodge mod and also Dodge MCO, which if you didn't catch on by now is made by the same author as Attack, Distar. I tend to use TKDodge because it makes configuring iframes easier. Like you could just open up the file and then just change it. But if you use Dodge by Distar, you have to actually edit the annotations of the actual animation itself, which is not something you can easily do without knowing everything. And I can't really explain it because I have no clue what that is either. The dodge animation I'm currently using is Step Dodge. I was using Bloodborne Dodge, which people kept asking me about, but it kind of felt overpowered a bit because I kind of moved too far back when I dodged and I did it a lot, but I might pick it back up at a later time. But honestly, yeah, that was pretty much it. I know you were probably expecting over 50 mods to make a good combat setup, since most modern combat mod lists is like 2,000 mods now. But this was just a pretty simple and straightforward video on how you can modernize your combat, and also the requirements to do so without breaking your game. So let me know what you guys thought down in the comments and what you think I should have included that I might have missed, because the only thing I can think of right now that I didn't include was fancy animation mods. And that I can put in another video, since I know people will ask me either way, even if it is 5 minutes in the video. But as of right now, make sure you leave a like on the video and subscribe for more content in the future.